Hello and welcome everybody. J-Man back for another music reaction. It's my Sunday here. Hope you're doing well out there, whatever day of the week it happens to be for you. We've got a request from Leah Ware, and the request is for Chris Webby, Raw Thoughts 7. So I know Chris Webby only from his collab with Ren, Impatient. I've heard a couple of songs by them, and I've really enjoyed those. So yeah, looking to hear a little bit from Chris on his own, see what he's got to say. I believe he is more in the realm of like hip hop rap sort of thing. Could be off base there, but that's what I've been exposed to so far with him on Impatient. So yeah, definitely looking forward to checking it out. Let's go ahead and see what he's got to say. So here we go. Chris Webby, Raw Thoughts 7. Let's get it.
Well, here we go again.
Once upon a time in our rewritten history, 13 bloodlines rose to power wickedly. They came from ancient lands with depravity and vices, like usury and rape and ritual sacrifices. They worshipped evil gods, but they kept the secrets hidden as they infiltrated and hijacked other religions. They conquered other countries and they printed all the money while they plotted on a plan for the control of everybody. And here we are now, still on the same path, with the devil in the details. You could do the math. Only God's got the map with the one road back. On the human racetrack, we passed the last lap with your pedophiles and Illuminati puppets operating in the shadows like roaches evading justice, subliminally teaching the wicked ways to the public, whether we knew it or not. Now we're all a product of it. See, they desecrated nature and set fire to the wilderness, filled us with their poison and they wired us for sinfulness, stole our ancient knowledge and left us broken and ignorant, and stole our sons and daughters and fed on the stolen innocence. They groomed our behavior and turned us on our neighbors, took away our promise and offered us false saviors. But something's gotta give when you're ruled by the takers, and in the end, us and them will meet the same maker. So I dedicate the song to those who lost their life and paid the price to tell the truth for what they thought was right. Those who up against the odds answered for the call to fight. And now it's time that the fucking darkness is brought to light.
Okay, quick pause here for original thoughts or first thought. Okay, like his flow, definitely like his flow, like his voice. Again, I've heard him a couple of times on the Impatient songs that I've reacted to, and it's a flow and a vibe that reminds me of a little bit like the raspiness to his voice reminds me a little of like Lil Wayne. And his flow is reminiscent to like Eminem. Some of the things he was saying there, he was spitting pretty quick. So kind of hard to take it all in. I feel like this is one of the videos where we'll probably do a little bit of a lyrical breakdown at the end, to kind of get the full gist of what he's saying. But I definitely understand some of the stuff he's saying about like religions being corrupted and overtaken. There was something about the Illuminati. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in terms of stuff like the Illuminati and whatever, but there in every conspiracy theory, there's always a kernel of truth. Those things come from something real, and basically, I feel like if I'm understanding Chris's main idea or main plot line here, I think it's got to do with just how the rich and the powerful and the government sort of take over control of everything. And there was stuff in there about, they tell us what to think and how to feel and things like that. I definitely agree with that. There is a degree to which, you know, the rich and the powerful have always controlled society and always controlled the ways we think and the way we see things and stuff like that. So definitely can agree with some of these early thoughts, at least the bits that I was able to pull out of it. We do. I feel like we need to relearn how to think for ourselves and not just um, you know, be caught up in the things that the rich and the powerful are trying to steer us towards and what they want us to think and what they want us to feel. And we need to think for ourselves and develop our own opinions and do what we feel is right, and things like that. So far, I think I'm digging it, what I'm understanding of it. Again, I feel like at the end of this, we're gonna go and we're gonna check out the lyrics and we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive in this. I love good rappers that have something to say. Maybe I don't agree with everything that they're gonna say, but I like somebody that's got something to say and they're not afraid to say it. And Chris seems, so far from what I can tell, he's got some stuff to say, and I would like to check that out a little further. But so far, digging the flow, digging the vibes of it, digging the overall thoughts that are going on. So let's back it up and we'll keep on going.
Call to fight, and now it's time that the fucking darkness is brought to light. Don't get distracted.
That's very Eminem sounding
It's time
there.
to load this chamber
Little
and aim at the head of the monster now. So go and grab a slice of Pizzagate. John Podesta's here to serve you each a plate. Tony's pouring fresh adrenochrome you really need to taste. And Barack bought the hot dogs for over 60K. In just a single day, that's what our taxes went to pay. Careful though, he'll take you paddleboarding if you tell his secrets. And stay away from his husband, she's meaner than he is. And Bill Gates is over there with a syringe and gloves, cause he likes to vaccinate the kids before he drinks their blood. And who's that chewing on a pineal gland? Oh, that's just Hillary with all that frazzle drip on her hands. That's red-handed. And there's Bill with jizz on his pants. Galena wiped the stains when her plane from Israel lands. So someone grab the spirit cooker if you looking for the gravy. Abramovich, who is not a witch. Well, maybe. And Gaga don't drink the goo-goo from little babies. That's crazy. She's honestly a really nice lady. And look, it's Kevin Spacey right off the set of a movie. He shot in his basement with a child and George Clooney. Weinstein funded it. Spielberg directed it. And Bono made the music and sang at a kid's benefit. And George H.W. Bush is pulling the car up with every man in his family, even Barbara. Ellen's on the way from Diddy's house with Sean Carter. Cause here at Comet Ping Pong, the club is what you're part of. Oprah's on the way, but she'll be late. She's stuck in human traffic. We'll just have to film the sacrifice and show it to her after. Go and throw it on a lacy dry, but don't be losing that shit. Where's Anthony Weiner's computer? I thought that Huma had it. Just relax, take a nap with that guy in the Biden mask. Even if they catch us, we'll be fine. Just give it time to pass. Jeffrey's got our back, this shit is under control. Cause he reports directly to the people running the show. Well, gee, who could that be? What a mystery. Even with the evidence, there's not a single hint to see. And these conspiracies have been mistaken all along. So I guess we'll never know just what is really going on. But before you call it anti-Semitism, try to listen and think how I said those families infiltrated religions. At the head of every snake is a servant of Satanism. Shit, the Vatican been human trafficking since the beginning. But one little country has become their seat of power, where they plot on pandemics and wars and twin towers. Babylonian Talmudism has been the recipe, and they've been sacrificing the fucking children for centuries. And they don't give a fuck about us. We're just goy, cattle, subhuman, only here to be destroyed and extorted and abused and ruled over with lies. But don't forget, guys, they're our greatest allies.
Okay, time for another pause. Okay, so it definitely seems like we've wandered into, in the very early part of that, what I guess I would call the second verse, a little more conspiracy theory stuff, stuff about Hillary, stuff about the stuff about Clinton was funny because that's true, right? The jizz on his pants thing. Yeah. Bill couldn't keep it in his pants. Like I said, the stuff about Hillary, I'm not saying I'm a Hillary fan, but there was a lot of stuff put out there about her by right-wing media and conspiracy theorists about you know, child molestation rings and things like that, that there is absolutely no evidence for. There were some other lines in there that he's definitely spitting at a pretty high rate here. So I can't remember exactly everything. Like I said, definitely we are going to go back. We're going to do a little bit of a lyrical breakdown, kind of go through some of this stuff. A lot of that stuff was heavily redacted, and I think that was on purpose, right? Certain names were redacted, and certain thoughts and concepts were redacted. And I think that that was sort of a nod at, or a pitch at, or a punch at how when government documents get released, they're so heavily redacted, oftentimes you can't really understand exactly what's going on because they've redacted so much information, and things like that. If I'm understanding Chris's idea or concept here with what he was doing, showing the lyrics with things being redacted. So yes, overall, in general, I'm liking it. And, you know, he definitely doesn't seem like he is like punching at the right or punching at the left, politically speaking. Seems like he's punching both ways. He had some stuff to say about George W. Bush and stuff like that, which I get it. The mistrust of the government that has risen in the last 20 years or so here in the United States in particular. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I'm not sure where Chris is from, what nationality is, but he is talking predominantly U.S. stuff, Lady Gaga, and stuff like that. But I get it. I get the lack of trust in politics lately. I am not one that I side with either side of the aisle, Republican or Democrat, because I feel like there's a lot of corruption on both sides of the aisle. I just tend to say that I'm a liberal. I believe in equal rights for everybody and freedom for everybody and things like that. He also seemed to take a punch at what Israel is doing, and he mentioned the idea that lately when you call out Israel for the things that they're doing, you get called an anti-Semite. And I heavily disagree with that. I believe that Israel has definitely been in the middle of a genocide over there in Israel, in Gaza, and things like that. So a lot that he's saying that I can get behind, some stuff that I can't get behind, but hey, I'm open to hearing all people's opinions. I'm of the mind that if all you ever do is listen to people that you agree with, then that's all you're ever going to believe. You're never going to change your opinions. You're never going to be open to understanding what other people feel and why they feel it. That's what I'm more interested in. I'm interested in why people that have different opinions than I do, why they have those opinions and what drove them to feel that and things like that. So I've rambled quite a bit here, but definitely some very thought-provoking material from Chris here, and I'm enjoying it. I like this kind of stuff, things that spark dialogue and make people think and make them talk about stuff and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of it. So, liking what I'm hearing so far in terms of the overall composition of the song that we're hearing. Not necessarily agreeing with everything that's being said, but I'm liking the overall concept and what Chris is doing. So let's back it up another smidge, and we may have to pause one more time, but we'll see. Let's back it up a smidge. We'll keep going.
With lies, but don't forget, guys, there are greatest
7-minute song, so probably another break.
Oh man, this song is gonna get me in some fucking trouble. That Kazarian
Probably,
is watching you with the fallen angels and Nephilim. It's time to rid society's closet of all the skeletons. So let me just be crystal fucking clear and set a precedent. If Trump is proven part of it, then burn him with the rest of them. Anyone taking cookies out of Epstein's jar Every Rachel Chandler handler in Epstein's car. And if he's really still alive, his judgment will come when he's mono with God. That's an Epstein bar. We gotta break the mind control of these secret societies that kept us locked in our perception. Then they threw away the keys.
Sorry,
Sure we
I
never
noticed the video quality wasn't the best.
Incriminated guilty celebrities on the screens who've been living double lives in the company of snakes, with the fucking balls to laugh at it right in front of our face. And it's hard when we grew up to love a lot of these stars, but it's time we see the monsters for exactly who they are, and fully cut ties with the idols of our youth, cause our childhood heroes have been hiding from the truth. But the reckoning is coming, ain't no running from the proof. So give every sick fuck at the pizzeria a noose. At the all white parties, show up in black.
The pizzeria, I think that's a stab at Hillary.
Kerosene in hand when I'm flicking a lit match, and burn it all down till it's nothing but ash. Raw thoughts. And now it's feeling like the whole world's cursed. The devil lurks while he ushers in this hell on earth. And a one world government's looming out in the distance. A new world order is coming for the resistance. Well, all we do is bicker till it's ripping us apart, as the globalists controlling us are stripping us for parts, while they reset the score on the brink of world war. As I look around, I don't recognize it anymore. Feel a wheeze from the geoengineering on the breeze, while they blocking out the sky right in front of us to see. Fucking with us with the frequencies of 5G, interacting with the graphene from the vaccines. And the food that we eat is poisoned down to the seeds. Hard to even call it food when Pfizer's making the cheese, while the algorithm focused us on how we disagree. They've been building us a prison with digital IDs. So this ain't an act of violence, it's an act of defiance. It's a fucking middle finger to these pedophile tyrants, a reminder to the rebels who won't give them their compliance when the pressure's on, never getting threatened into silence, and still hit the field while the home team's losing. Keep a cool head through the cries and confusion. Keep an open mind through the lies and illusions. And try to be a good human. So one last time, this the finale, put it to bed. Because after this, there won't be nothing left to be said. And I hope that after all of this, at least I made you think. That was always my intention for sharing what's in my head. It was never about the vision, I just needed y'all to listen. And wake the fuck up from this nightmare that we live in. So hate or love it if I got you to question the system. With all these raw thoughts, then I accomplished the mission. And the thoughts were my own, in a world where the loudest opposition is controlled. I don't claim to have the answer, really all I've ever known is I gotta speak on it if I feel it in my bones. I've been right about a lot of things, wrong about some others. Shadow banned and demonized, still I never stuttered. Cause from the very start, I just said what's in my heart. So one last time, raw thoughts, motherfucker.
All right. So,
Start. I just
yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so yeah, like I said, definitely a song where a lot that I can agree with, a few things that I can vehemently disagree with, and some things that I'm on the borderline with. There was definitely some stuff in there to do with immunization stuff. And I feel that's one of the things that I feel is just, it's really, really dangerous. So that's the one that I'm vehemently in disagreement with, is the stuff about vaccinations and immunizations. We're seeing here in the US the resurgence of diseases and viruses that had been thought to be dead. We thought that we had conquered them. Smallpox is the one that comes to mind. There was an outbreak of smallpox, I want to say, in Texas, which Texas is one of those predominantly conservative states. They had a lot of pushback against the COVID procedures and things like that. But because there are parents believing this stuff out there, there was the one poke about Bill Gates and, immunizing children and something about the blood or whatever. Yeah, that's the one part, the one concept that Chris is talking about that I definitely disagree with, and I feel like is very dangerous. We need to immunize our children. There is no link between immunizations and uh, consistently bad things. There are a lot of people out there that believe that some of the immunizations cause autism. There is no link. There is no direct link there. There are some um, what's the word for it? I'm having a Swiss cheese moment. Um, the indirect There's some indirect results that do show certain things about instances of autism and immunization, things like that, but you have to weigh the good versus the bad. So even if I were to concede and say that there may be some link between immunizations and autism, the rate at which it happens is um, much less than the good that comes out of the immunizations and keeping down the spread of diseases that are going to kill people and things like that. So just want to get that one out of the way. That was the one that sort of hit the big nerve for me, was the stuff about immunization. Um, but other than that, like I said, there's a lot that he had to say that I can get in line with. Just the control by the powers that be, and the stuff about Israel and what's going on over there, and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I probably am going to do a little breakdown. I would like to go back through his lyrics, but I'm going to kind of put a final note on sort of my general thoughts here, so that for those of you that don't want to go through and do the deep dive into the lyrics, you can just kind of pass over it. I'll put a timestamp in the video for it. But yeah, overall, like his flow, like his sound, like the beats, like the imagery, very well put together video. So I'm going to overall give it a thumbs up. I definitely enjoyed that. I feel like, again, Chris is just, he's talking about things that he believes in clearly. Agree with some of it, don't agree with some of it, vehemently disagree with some of it. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like these things need to be talked about. We need to have conversations about them. We need to get them out in the open air, and we need to talk about them. We seem to have gotten to this place in the 2020s where the idea is that people should not be talking about certain things, and I am diametrically opposed to that idea. I think we need to talk about them. I think we need to stop going into our own corners and hearing nothing but everything that the people that we agree with have to say. And we need to start talking to people that we disagree with, and talk these things out and hash them out and figure out why we think the things that we think, and maybe try to find some middle ground. That's what I miss in today's society, is that, again, I'm going to play the old man card. 30, 40 years ago, people who had different ideas, they could agree to disagree, and they could compromise. The United States government, Republicans and Democrats, would often reach across the aisle and come to a compromise, and find a solution that was at least appeasing to both sides of the aisle. And we don't do that anymore. It's us against them. If we win, you lose. If we lose, you win, is kind of the mentality today. And that's not the way that it is. That's not the way the world works. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. But clearly what Chris had to say provoked a lot of thought, provoked a lot of emotion in me. And that's what music of this nature should do. It should provoke you to think. It should provoke you to talk about it. And it should provoke you to action, hopefully. So definitely a thumbs up to Chris in that in that respect, and I can be down with that. So that'll be it for the regular sort of my reaction here. But I do want to do a little bit of a deep dive into the lyrics. and talk about that before I end things out here. So let me get that pulled up here. So Raw Thoughts 7 lyrics. Raw Thoughts 7 lyrics. Chris Webby. Come on, we got to have the lyrics, right? Here we go. Genius. Okay. Bitch, you done released the Kraken. I'm up on Mount Olympus while I'm rapping. So when the lightning strikes, the watchers churning, thunder's crashing, and them twisters touching down like that movie with Bill Paxton. Wait, is this? This doesn't sound like the right lyrics. Is this? Okay, I don't think this is the right set of lyrics. He's talking about some of the same stuff that I remember hearing. Oh, this is from his original Raw Thoughts. Okay, yeah. So he was saying some similar stuff. So let me try putting in the Roman numerals and see if that. Okay, here we go. Okay, once upon a time in a rewritten history, 13 bloodlines rose to power. Okay, I know the reference that he's talking about there. It has that, doesn't that? I think that's got to do. I think Cyber may be the one that might know this more than anybody else. But I think the 13 bloodlines, that was like the old aristocracy, right? There were 13, or is this more of a? Is this more of one of the conspiracy theorist things? But I feel like there were certain bloodlines in Europe between like England and France and Germany and Italy and all of that, that most of the aristocracy came from those bloodlines. And I feel like maybe that's what he's talking about. You guys can let me know in the comments if I'm off base there. But they came from ancient lands and with depravity and vices like usury and rape and ritual sacrifices. So yeah, our history is full of that kind of stuff, right? That's something we definitely understand. And let's see, they conquered other countries and they printed all the money while they plotted on the plan for the control of everybody. And here we are now, still on the same path with the evil in the details. You could do the math. Only God's got the map with the one road back on the human racetrack. We passed the last lap. Bunch of pedophiles and Illuminati puppets operating in the shadows like roaches evading justice, subliminally teaching their wicked ways to the public, whether we knew it or not. Now we're all a product of it. Helga, do you know where is Chris Webby from? I want to search that real quick. Is Chris Webby from Norwalk, Connecticut? Okay, all right. So he is from the U.S., which makes sense with what he's talking about mostly. Let's see. Filled us up with their poison and they wired us for sinfulness, stole our ancient knowledge and left us broken and ignorant. Okay, so that first verse, I definitely feel like I understood most of what was going on there, and I feel like I nailed that. Second verse, it's time to load this chamber and aim at the head of the monster now. So go and grab a slice of Pizzagate. So Pizzagate, that was supposedly Hillary was running this child prostitution ring from the basement of a pizza place in New York, and they actually, I think they raided that place and they found nothing. That is all a bunch of bullshit. That's a whole bunch of conspiracy theorist stuff, and there was a lot of conspiracy theory stuff in here from Chris. So doesn't surprise me. But John Podesta is here to serve you each a plate. Tony's pouring fresh adrenochrome. That might be another sort of conspiracy theory thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. You really need to taste. Barack bought the hot dogs for over 60K. Again, probably some conspiracy theorist thing there. In just a single day, that's what our taxes went to pay. Careful thought. He'll take you paddle boarding if you tell his secrets. So almost sounds like gonna kill you if you know too much, kind of thing. Chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline. Okay, Leah, gotcha. And stay away from his husband. He's meaner than his husband. She's meaner than he is. Yeah, that's a little bit of a low blow. Kind of, I think that's poking, saying that Michelle is the one that wears the pants in the family or something. Here's the bit about Bill Gates is over there with the syringe and the gloves because he likes to vaccinate the kids before he drinks their blood. Total bullshit. And who's that chewing on a pineal gland? Oh, that's just Hillary with all that fazzle drip in her hands. Okay, more conspiracy theorist stuff. That whole, I feel like this whole second second verse is a lot of conspiracy theorist crap that I can't get down with. Let's see. Next verse. Even with the evidence, there's not a single hint to see, and these conspiracies have been mistaken all along. So I guess we'll never know just what's really going on. But before you call it anti-Semitism, try to listen and think how I said those families infiltrated religions. At the head of every snake is a servant of Satanism. Shit, the Vatican been human trafficking since the beginning. Yes, I agree with that. The Catholic Church is a mob family, basically, that has been moving around and hiding pedophiles for thousands of years. But one little country has been the seat of the power while the plot on pandemics and wars and twin towers. I feel like that's another big conspiracy theory, saying that the pandemic was intentionally produced by the government, and that the twin towers were actually something that happened that was a plot by the government to spark anti-Muslim sentiments and things like that. Let's see. More about the Catholic Church. Oh man, this song gonna get me in some fucking trouble. Yeah, it probably gonna get you in trouble with some people. Fallen angels and the Nephilim. I know that word. I've heard it before. I think it's another conspiracy thing. It's time to rid society's closet of all the skeletons. So let me just be crystal fucking clear and set a precedent. If Trump is proven part of it, then burn him with the rest of them. Talking about Epstein stuff, which at least it sounds like maybe the way he phrased that makes me sound like he is a bit of a Trump supporter, which I clearly am not if you've watched any of my stuff. But at least he's open to saying that, hey, look, if this guy's doing bad shit, then he needs to burn with everybody else. He definitely, in my opinion, is a pedophile. You can listen to the way that Trump talks about his own daughter and get the sense and the gist of where Trump comes from, right? The guy is a freaking pedophile and he is a moron. And I'll stop there. Okay. Let's see. Talked a lot about Epstein. The reckoning is coming. Every sick fuck at the pizzeria. There we go again with the Hillary pizzeria thing. Whole world's cursed. Devil's lurking. New world order. We know what that is. Yeah, graphene. I know that that's behind a conspiracy theory thing. Vaccines. They're building us a prison with a digital ID. That's kind of people's interpretation of the Revelations, the book of Revelations, and how everybody's going to have a number. That's all a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. The digital age, yeah, we all have online IDs, and you can be tracked from that and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I don't see the evil in it. Um, yeah, the rest of it's more just kind of him saying, "Look, hey, I'm mad about this stuff." Blah blah blah. So yeah, like I said, in the end, um, definitely some things that I can agree with. The stuff about Israel, the stuff about the there being these main powers of super powerful people, rich people that are controlling things, trying to tell you how to think, stuff like that. I definitely that's a given. That's not just a theory. That's a known fact. The people with the power are the ones that control the world, and it's gotten out of control here in the U.S. I haven't seen the last numbers, but it's a very very small percentage of the US population that controls a very, very large percentage of the wealth. And those are the people that can go out and buy lobbyists to go lobby our governmental officials to do the things that they want to do. I just listened to a podcast this morning about what was it? Dang it. Uh, is it BPAs? Is that the name of the stuff that's in the plastic? Yeah, BPAs. The EPA here in the United States is allowing a lot of shit just because there are large corporations that spend billions upon billions of dollars to lobby the government and government officials to say, oh, it's fine, don't worry about those BPAs, it's not a big deal, oh yeah, all the lab tests, they were just mice and rats, and we're not mice and rats, and yeah, we need to start listening to the scientists that are telling us that some of the shit we're doing is wrong and it's bad. So I could probably stay here and talk forever, and nobody's going to probably listen to it. I know probably the whole last 10 minutes of this video are me going over the lyrics and giving some of my thoughts. Most people are going to skip over it. I get it. I'm fine with that. But bottom line is, again, I stand for Chris and his right to say what he thinks and put his opinions out there, whether I think they're right, wrong, or indifferent. I stand behind Chris's right to say what he thinks and say what he feels. And I agree with some of it. I disagree with some of it. I vehemently disagree with some of it. But in the end, like I said, I feel like everybody needs to be a little more open with what they think and what they feel. And we need to talk about this stuff, and we need to try to hash some of this stuff out and quit standing in our corners, bickering at each other, and thinking that we're always right and they're always wrong. And if we can get to that place, then I think maybe we can start to make some progress. So that's my final thought. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks so much to everybody who stayed to the very end here. If you're watching this video and you liked what you saw, please drop a like, comment, let me know what you think about all this stuff. Subscribe, ring the bell, helps my channel grow. And hopefully we will see you on the next one. Stay cool, everybody. Peace.